Mobility University students here too. Nice
All
to
right.
see everyone.
Well, good to see everyone. Welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. Welcome to RVA Rapid Transit's Transit Talk. This is our monthly webinar where we invite the region to talk about transportation topics within the city of Richmond, Virginia. My name is Faith Walker. I am the Executive Director for RVA Rapid Transit. And for those of you who are returning, as we see a lot of you, welcome back. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, RVA Rapid Transit, we are a nonprofit here in the Richmond region. We advocate for frequent and far-reaching public transportation. We want to see buses go more places. People have dignified places to wait. And then also we elevate riders' voices in transit planning and decision-making. And last but not least, we are pushing for the continuation of zero fare in the region. So I just want to go over some housekeeping notes. This is a recorded talk. We love to post these talks on our YouTube page. So if you want to reference back or share it with someone, you can do that on the RV Rapid Transit YouTube page. So we ask everyone to stay on mute. Okay, stay on mute. And we do have an opportunity where we will provide you some Q&A at the end of this portion. And if you have a question, make sure you do #Q. Okay, #Q, because throughout the event, there are chatting, there is response and call and response, which is okay, but I want to make sure that I get to your question. But before we get started, I want to go over some transit news. What's up with the bus? Recently, GRTC just conducted a board retreat this past about 2 weeks ago. And the incredible thing is I got to spend 3 hours with this board who have completely done some unprecedented things in the last 2 years. And I want to highlight, and it was highlighted what was done. Service expansion to Chesterfield Town Center, service expansion to Sheltering Arms and Goochland, Route 19 frequency increased 15 minutes. The longest GRTC, the largest GRTC operating budget to date, and then over 10 million riders. I mean, that is a record. So this is representing FY24. All right. And then 5 micro transit zones implemented, the new downtown transfer station implemented, new union contract is in place, and the reestablished Rider Council, okay, the RAC program, and then the continuation of zero fare. So in the chat, I want you to just type which one you are most excited about. I love to see that. All right, so moving on, also what was shared is Scudder WAG. Scudder WAG facilitated a conversation about the long-term funding expansion possibilities. So we have all this incredible expansion. How are we going to pay for it? Okay, so right now the trajectory, can I say that 3 times? The trajectory right now doesn't account for the money that we have currently. Is it going to come from the CVTA at only 15%? Should we increase it to 20? The localities right now when the CVTA was implemented slashed their contributions within 50%. Should the localities increase their contribution? So these are the conversations that we have to have. And these are the conversation and the advocacy that we need from you to advocate that more funding go to transit. All right, the North-South BRT, GRTC has been doing some incredible engagement when it comes to getting your feedback on the North-South BRT. We will put in the chat, or Henry or someone from our staff can put in GRTC wants your comments. They want you to give feedback on the current proposed routes. This route, also the locations that proposed stops could be, and they're accepting comments through the September 30th. So we have a few more days left. So make sure you participate. So right now I'm going to turn it over to our programs and community engagement manager, Stephanie, to take it away for our writer's voice portion.
All right. Thanks, Faith. And welcome everyone. So our Writer's Voice program is basically how we do engagement at RVA Rapid Transit. And so one of our pillars, as Faith mentioned, is uplifting the riders' voices, especially in rooms and spaces where decisions are being made about transit, we want to make sure that our riders have the opportunity to have their voices heard, have their concerns aired, and make sure that they are included in those decisions. So nobody knows the bus system actually better than a rider, a daily rider, people who are using the service in and out. So um, we go to bus stops frequently. We go with our recorders and we go with our water and our snacks to offer people in exchange for their experience. And we get to hear people's stories. And so we love to bring those stories to this community, to our online platforms. But like we said, to decision makers, we write op-eds about these stories. And we do these things in order to advocate for things like more transit, going more places into the counties, as well as zero fare. So we're going to hear from Rel today. And this comment was gathered by my colleague, Courtney, one of our transit ambassadors. And it's from the downtown transfer station not too long ago. This is a pretty fresh comment. And I think like the most exciting thing about this comment to me is Rel's enthusiasm. He doesn't necessarily say it in so many words, but if you hear the quality of his voice, you'll understand why he's like obviously very, very like grateful for the bus and grateful for it to be free right now. So let's hear from Rel.
My name is Rel. I'm riding the bus for the first time today because my wife is using the car. We share a car, and when I got to work, they advised me to go to the hospital, so I'm headed to Richmond Community Hospital. And the bus line it's taking me there for free.
Right. So, you know, it's something that could be really inconveniencing, really challenging for a lot of people. I myself don't have a car, so I know when I need to get somewhere quickly or on a dime, you know, it can be challenging. We might be digging into our pockets to go through Uber, but right now, if service is there, we don't have to do that. So we're really, really grateful that the bus is free, and we definitely want to continue it beyond 2025. So now we've got Mike, and Mike is also a recent comment. So you can see the photo in the picture here on the bottom there. This is collected at the same time as when we were speaking with Mike. We were doing some outreach for our Mobility University program. And Mike is a Petersburg resident. And this is something that's close to our hearts too, as we would love to see Petersburg be a little bit more connected. Of course, there's the 95X connector that goes to and from Petersburg. But we're going to hear from Mike, someone who's directly impacted by wanting to be in Richmond City a little bit more frequently and a little bit more timely. So let's hear from Mike.
Good evening. My name is Mike J. I'm a loyal GRTC rider. I would like to express a thought that I would like GRTC to run to Petersburg more frequently and a little later at night for those of us who work in Richmond. Please consider. Thank you.
Yeah, and I know that service to and from Petersburg, I think, was shifted a little bit during the pandemic. So, and we've seen earlier here today just all of the amazing extensions GRTC has done recently. So we're hoping that we can kind of keep Petersburg on the map there with comments like that. So I want to thank Rel and Mike for sharing their experience and their wisdom with us. And yeah, that's our rider's voice. I also did want to share real quick about our program called Adopt a Stop, because I just wanted to share there's like some just exciting stuff happening here. And if you're not familiar with Adopt a Stop, please go to our website and look at our Better Bus Stops program. I just want to share that we have a stop in Chesterfield County now adopted, and that's at Spring Rock Green out there off of uh, off of Midlothian Turnpike, I think.
Yes, Midlothian.
Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, we're expanding into the counties even with that program. And if you want to become an adopter, please reach out. We'd love to hook you up and help us continue to help uplifting the rider experience. So yeah, thank you. That's all for today. I'll give it back to you, Faith.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. Now it's time for what you're all here for. You participated earlier, or maybe late last year, in giving your feedback on the possibility of different service expansion, but also new lines of expansion to GRTC in a TSP, a transit. I don't even know what that stands for, but the people who are here will tell you. If you participated in that survey, now is the opportunity to get that feedback. Right now, GRTC's board has approved their 10-year plan. So right now, you're going to get firsthand what GRTC has in store when it comes to new service and new service expansion. And if you have any questions, today is the day to get them answered. So without further ado, I want to bring on the Director of Transportation and the Assistant Director of Transportation, Frank Adarkwa and Patricia Robinson. Please take it away.
Thank you, Faith.
And I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can. Give me a second.
Perfect.
There we go.
All right. How does that look?
That's good. All right. Well, Faith, thank you once again. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to come out here today to share insights of our transit strategic plan. Like you said, my name is Frank Adarkwa. I am the Director of Planning and Scheduling. And today I have the honor of presenting to you with Ms. Robinson.
Patricia Robinson. I'm the Assistant Director of Planning and Scheduling. So excited to be here.
Thank you, Tricia. Next slide, please. All right, so for today's agenda, what we'll be talking about, so pretty much give you a brief overview of what GRTC's system is about, and we will look at the type of services that we provide, just to share a little bit more about the services that we have, and then we will delve into the TSP itself, and then also give you updates on some interesting capital projects that we are currently working on. Next slide, please. So, like I said, we just want to share some information with you regarding the type of services that we provide within the region. Not everybody knows, exactly the type of services, but we just want to take this opportunity to share that with you. So at GRTC, we provide what we call fixed routes. We also provide paratransit services, which on our end, we call them CARE. And then we provide micro transit services, and our system is known as the Link. And then we do have a transportation demand management division. And their role pretty much is to work to decrease the number of single occupant vehicles by assisting riders with trip planning and ride sharing options. On the fixed route side, we have 30 local routes, 4 express routes, and then 1 BRT, which we refer to as the Pulse. And on the CARE side, which is the paratransit, and the paratransit is pretty much it's a public service that provides curb-to-curb paratransit service within 3/4 mile per ADA requirements. Then we also have what we call the Link, like I said, which is a micro transit service. The micro transit service is an on-demand transportation service, and you can order a ride for it within a designated zone. So your origin and destination must be within this designated zone. And just like an Uber or Lyft, you can use an app, and then the shuttle will show up at your destination, pick you up, and then drop you off. And this is our newest addition. We have 5 zones currently running. I think Faith touched on a couple of them. Ashland, Azalea, Cloverdale, Palatine, and Scienceton. So that is just a brief overview of the services that we have here at GRTC. Next slide, please. All right. So to talk to you some more about the TSP, I will turn things over to the Assistant Director, Patricia Robinson. The TSP is pretty much her baby, so she would like to share some more information with you. Trish, please take it away.
Thanks, Frank. Yeah, like he mentioned, this is the Transit Strategic Plan, also called the TSP. You'll see that a lot on this next few slides. So I wanted to start with the purpose of the TSP, why we developed this plan to begin with. This is a DRPT, Department of Rail and Public Transportation requirement that large agencies, and they define large as being an urban area with more than 50,000 people and a fleet of more than 20 buses. So we have both of those check marks. They require that we develop a TSP, and this serves as the strategic plan and policy plan over a 10-year outlook. This plan includes a mid-cycle update every 5 years, but also is a living document that can be updated annually, which is really important for our growing and changing needs of the Richmond region. It's set in place to improve operations, service performance, look at new ways to serve, to provide access to underserved areas. It also provides the basis for inclusion of GRTC's capital and operating programs in planning and programming documents, particularly statewide programs such as the Statewide Transportation Improvement Program, 6-year improvement program, and our constrained long-range plan. Wanted to go through a little bit of a roadmap of what the chapters of the TSP included. So chapters 1 and 2 are existing conditions. They're kind of where we are for a baseline as far as an agency and our vision, service operations. And then 3 and 4 are our planned improvements. These are route level, system level improvements and modifications, and the implementation plan breaks down those improvements over the 10 years within the fiscal plan. Next up is our financial component, and this plan includes services and capital requirements necessary to execute those plans. So very important piece of the puzzle. So for input and engagement, a lot of work went into this plan. It's a combination of all previous plans, market demand data, performance evaluation, survey data, planning standards were all used to inform this and give us a visionary network. And the visionary network is what we get at the end of 10 years. So part of the resources that went in to develop this plan include GRTC's 2018 Transit Development Plan, TDP, if you're not tired of acronyms yet, GRTC's current service planning priorities, as well as all transportation plans by Planner VA and our jurisdictional partners that we could grab. So we had lots of opportunity for engagement, starting with our origin and destination survey. So this was held on buses, meeting our riders where they are to help us understand how the system's currently being used and by who. From there, we went on to do a priority survey. This included feedback from community and jurisdictional stakeholders, the public, as well as GRTC's employees, both admin and operators as well. The priorities for this included, would you prefer frequency versus coverage? Do you prefer AM and PM rush hour service to all day service? And kind of seeing where our different groups lie in those ranges of priorities. Both of those, the origin and destination survey and the priority survey, fed into this draft plan. And so once we got the recommendations at a route level from our consultants, we then brought that draft plan back for even more feedback. So we invited our same jurisdictional and community partners to review it in a meeting. We had meetings for feedback for operator staff at GRTC, as well as executive members and admin staff. We also had 3 pop-up events at our popular transfer locations for our public, as well as an online campaign. This included a website, story map, and an online survey. Excuse me. So once we get our final plan, we have our visionary network statistics. And this is, again, where our network would be 10 years from now once this full plan is implemented. We have an increase of 11% in employment opportunities within a 1/4 mile, very walkable distance of our fixed route transit. And then we have an increase of 6% of population that we would reach within a quarter mile of our fixed route transit. And I will just note for this is fixed routes. So this doesn't necessarily take into account the additional service that we would provide to Care and Care Plus customers as well, because when fixed route expands, that of course comes along with it. I wanted to take a quick second here and show you a couple of maps. On the left, we have our current existing service, and on the right is our visionary. So again, that's after 10 years. We can see a lot of additions here. We have our Route 1 addition, I'm sorry, 1A addition, a Route 1 addition to the north. We have our new route, the 92 shown on here, a couple of extensions on the express route. I wanted to highlight our BRT, our current BRT, just above my cursor here in green on the left. And on the right, we have our current BRT, plus the extension to Parham that we're working on, as well as our north-south BRT line, which we're very excited about. We also have just a lot more blue and red and maroon on this side, indicating 30 minutes or better service, and kind of getting away from this green and teal 40-minute, 60-minute service. Our upcoming priorities. So I wanted to share our upcoming priorities for fiscal year 25, which we're currently in, and FY 26. So for fiscal year 25, we focused on Route 1 and the 7A and B, as well as the addition of our 4 link zones. Azalea started in November of 2023, and then since then we have added Ashland, North Chesterfield, Powhatan, and Sanston. For FY 26, we have some headway, alignment, expansion to our local routes, as well as our Pulse BRT, and 2 additional link zones. That's our micro transit service. One will be for the Broad Rock, Cherry Gardens, Richmond area, and then one is for Montrose and White Oak Village. So then looking a little bit farther ahead, mind you, this one is a 5-year expansion outlook, so this doesn't have all of the additional service level improvements that we would have in these years as well. So as far as expansion goes for FY 25, we are focusing on Route 1. We did an extension up Brook Road to J. Sargent Reynolds in June, and we're doing another extension to Virginia Center Commons in October. For FY 26, we have an extension on the 3B to Colebrook Road. We also have an extension on the 82 express route to service Chesterfield Career and Technical Center, and there is a park and ride at that facility as well. And then, like I mentioned before, there'll be the addition of 2 link zones. FY 27 is an exciting one. We have the extension of our western terminus to Parham for our current Pulse BRT line. And then we have some route adjustments and a new route to accommodate the connectivity that's needed to get the best out of that service. FY 28, there's going to be a service realignment to the 18 to service Staples Mill Parkway. That's just a little bit farther north than what we currently service now, but that's going to have a big impact to that community. And then the Route 95 Express is also going to add a quick stop at Bright Point Community College. And then for fiscal year 29, we're taking out the 1A, extending it further to Westchester Commons. And that was it for my quick update. I'll pass it back to Frank for an update on capital projects.
Sure, thanks, Trisha. Before I get into the capital projects, let me just mention one quick thing. So with regards to the TSP, even though it's been prioritized and categorized based on fiscal year, that does not necessarily mean that we are sticking to those things. This is a living document. So as we go along, based on needs, based on requirements, based on things that come up, this document is going to be dated to meet the needs and requirements of the service area. Just wanted to put that out there. All right. So yeah, just would like to provide you with some major or primary capital projects that we are currently working on here at GRTC. Next slide, please. All right. So I think Tricia shared this with you in her presentation about the extension of the existing poles. Currently, the end of line for the existing poles on Broad Street is at Willow Lawn. And with this project, we are looking at extending it 4 miles all the way to North Palm Road. This is a project that kicked off April of this year, and we're working with consultants to continue to develop a conceptual design. They will do some preliminary engineering works on it. They will also be developing transportation safety and security plan. And then as part of the process, we will conduct the FTA, the Federal Transit Administration's required environmental analysis, which we refer to as NEPA. A major part of this process is the public engagement or the public involvement. For the Western Extension, if you all have the chance on October 1st, between 5 and 7 p.m. at the Libby Library, we will be conducting our first open public meeting there. So if you have the chance, please join us. In terms of the project completion, for this phase, which is a project development phase, we are looking at getting done by 2025. This is going to leave us with, some high-level conceptual designs with station locations identified, as well as the environmental pieces conducted. We're looking at starting construction somewhere around 2027, and then revenue operations will start. If everything goes well, we are looking at starting revenue operations in 2029. Next slide, please. The next project that I want to talk about is the North-South BRT, and I think Patricia also touched on this, and Faith has also talked a little bit about it. This is a new BRT line that we're currently working on, and this is also in the project development phase. The project has been divided into 2 different phases. What we call phase 1 is what is being shown in green. That start from the Brookhill Azalea Shopping Center all the way down to Stonebridge, the Spring Line area, somewhere around District 60. But the phase 2 extends to on the southern part, it extends onto Midlothian Turnpike, I think somewhere around Walmart Way. And then up north, it will extend from the Brookhill area all the way up to the Virginia Center Commons. Next slide, please. In terms of what the timeline looks like, currently there are different activities undertaken concurrently. We have started with the dedicated lanes phase of it. That started somewhere around fall this year. With regard, we're also looking at identifying the station location. That's where where we anticipate stations to be at. For the phase 1, we're looking at the final preferred concept to be ready somewhere around winter 2025. And then we're also looking at completing the NEPA somewhere around spring 2026. But as we are working on completing the NEPA, we will also start working on the phase 2, where we will start with the identification of the dedicated lanes as well as the station location somewhere around fall 2025. In terms of detailed design for this project, we are looking somewhere between 25 and 28, and construction to start somewhere around 28, and revenue operations to start in 2031 if everything goes right. Next slide. So for this project, we conducted our first public meeting September 16th. And as Faith said, and I think Henry has shared a link to take this survey. Like I said, this is just this is what we are working on here is just the conceptual design, nothing final here. So we would like to hear your feedback. So if you can take some time to go through that survey and provide us with your thoughts, and that will go a long way to help us. This survey, I think, ends on September 30th. An interesting thing here is also that if you, at the end of the survey, you get a chance to put in your information, and you'll be in a position to win a $50 gift card. We already have 2 people that have won, so you could be the next lucky person to win. Next slide. That is so the downtown transfer station project. I think Faith had also touched on this a little bit. For some time now, the city of Richmond and GRTC have been working together to identify a permanent location for GRTC to operate out of downtown. And a study that started a while back was completed this year, and it ended up with the identification of 2 major locations. The first site is, what you see on the in the picture there, site 8. Site 8 is a current site that we currently operate out of, and site 9 is right next adjacent to it, which is the former public safety building space. In August of this year, our board voted to advance site 9 as a future downtown transfer hub. So we are excited about that. Next slide, please. In terms of the concept for the downtown transfer facility, there are 2 main concepts that the consultant came up with. One is a high-rise concept, and the other is a low-rise concept. Next slide. Yeah, one thing that is similar between these 2 concepts is the fact that the transfer hub design is going to be similar, whichever concept that the agency and the city of Richmond decides to implement or go with. But this is just, a conceptual rendering of what that space will look like. In terms of timeline, we don't really have much now because we are still working with the city to try to coordinate with them to see to bring on developers. But once we have a locked in timeline and a lot more information, we will continue to share that with the public. Next slide. So yeah, once again, thank you to this group for giving us the chance to come out here and share information about GRTC with you. And for those of you that joined us, thank you very much. And we are here to take your questions if you have any.
All right. So if you have any questions, please make sure you put it in the chat, #Q. Let me see if I have any questions so far. I had a question, and thank you, Frank and Trisha. We really appreciate that. NEPA, can you explain what NEPA is? I think I missed that.
It's the National Environmental Policy Act.
Okay.
And like I said, the FDA requires that you conduct an environmental analysis whenever you are doing such a project. So let's say we decide to put a station somewhere, right? We want to make sure that we are not adversely impacting any sort of human activities there or any sort of endangered species that are out there. One of the major things that they also look at is any sort of historic resource that is within that vicinity of that station, making sure we don't adversely impact those things.
Okay, so looking at the location, history, all right, that's good. So we have, when's the next opportunity for people to participate and get involved in the Western Expansion Project?
October 1st.
October 1st. And so that, I believe that's going to be at the Libby Mill Library.
Correct. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. All righty. And let's see if we have, so someone says, is GRTC considering a tram conversation for the existing BRT? And I think the plan PDF mentions wanting to increase the 50 on Broad Street because of the capacity anticipated. If there is much capacity, could that be enough for a tram conversation? Oh, that's a great question.
I don't know. I mean, it's not a conversation we've ever had, but I think For now, our focus is, the BRT. We are going to be bringing on articulated buses
Mhm.
for both the existing as well as the new BRT line, which will allow us to take a lot more people on board. In terms of conversion to tram, we have not had that conversation.
And I
Great.
will add
And
though,
oh,
the way we
sorry.
deal with, the way we deal with increased capacity on 50 would be increasing the frequency. So it is proposed in the TSB to increase the headways to 30 minutes as well. So that would kind of be phase one before we even start tram conversations, would be increasing bus frequency.
All right, so we got some questions just flowing in. Can you discuss how riders fare will be addressed in 2025, helping riders plan to pay again?
From an official standpoint, I mean, I haven't heard anything in regards to that, and maybe Henry can, talk a little more about this. But from an official standpoint, I haven't heard anything about, fares returning in 2025.
No, what we need right now, that was one of the discussions that happened at that board GRTC meeting when we're discussing how we're going to pay for free fare and expansion. And
Right.
so are we going to be using more CVTA dollars? Are we going to be using more contributions from jurisdictions? And then are we going to incentivize or encourage organizations like colleges, universities to implement a zero fare? 2026 is when we need the entire region to invest in zero fare, especially organizations like CarMax or Artria or organizations who say they have sustainability and commitments to this region to invest in economic mobility, racial equity. And so this is where we need you as citizens, as bus riders to say, hey, if you're working for any of these companies, you need to be reaching out to them and saying, hey, you need to be investing in zero fare. And so this is where we need your help to step in. And you'll hear more from us. I encourage you to follow our newsletter, but RVA Rapid Transit is committed to finding strategies and ways to assist GRTC and the region keep fare free. So let's see where we are. All right. How are you coordinating with other transportation initiatives? VPRA tweeted today about rideshare at Staples Mill Station, and a lot of demand for non-car travel could be satisfied by better bus service to Staples Mill, for example, branching the East-West Pulse BRT after Staples Mill will branch with one branch to Parham and a branch to Staples Mill. Any comments on that?
I will say with the 18, that increase, service extension northward, it would touch Parham Road. And so we kind of have the Parham connector would be a new route once we do the east-west pulse as well. So we are trying to get a lot more connectivity to that Route 18 that services Staple Mill and the Amtrak.
And just to add to that, in terms of coordinating with other institutions or agencies, I think I talked in the beginning about our TDM group, the Transportation Demand Management Group, ride finders who are in a place to continue to coordinate with this ride share opportunity. So if people are interested, they can always look up at their website and see how they conduct their businesses.
Yeah. Someone mentions, Peter mentions bus stop shelters and infrastructure. Is this a part of the TSP? Yes, we know these are different plans that GRTC has, but what is the overlap between this particular plan and the next plan? I know we have expansion. So are you prioritizing some of the things that are in the transit essential infrastructure plan with the TSP so they line up? How's that work?
So we talked a lot about the service piece, but there's also a capital piece of it. And it's from a financial perspective. So all the monies that will be required to kind of put infrastructure out there, especially passenger infrastructure, has been captured as a part of the TSP. One thing that I can also say that we're almost done with developing a 1 to 3 year essential transit infrastructure plan, implementation plan that is going to help us push bus stop amenities out there. So you are going to be seeing a lot more of that soon.
Alrighty. How are you coordinating with other, okay, we got that one. Initiatives. Let's see. Y'all are on a roll today. All right, I like this. Can you please tell us more about the TSP engagement? What the results were? How many folks you heard from? Anything from the responses that surprised you, was particularly interesting? Is this data shared anywhere?
Trish, you want to touch on the engagement phase?
Yeah, I was trying to get the number of results pulled up because I don't want to misspeak on the amount of responses that we had. Yeah, we had a lot of engagement both with our consultant team, and then we made sure as an agency that we went out in addition to them and with them, just to really make sure we were capturing as many people as we could, as many riders as we could. We did a lot of pop-up events and then just some additional staging where we could. And then, of course, our marketing team did a great job with our public outreach campaign and really grabbing people in. And then I'm going to
looking at that, I can, yeah, while you're looking at that, I can give some feedback. We also partnered with GRTC to host them at one of our events, and we shared the surveys at the transfer station. I can say, you know, for me, I saw the opportunities for the 5A, pretty shocking. I think it's the 5A, where if you look at this TSP plan, and I encourage everyone to look at it, it goes a little bit deeper. I mean, I don't think it's like over 100 pages of opportunities and feedback to extend GRTC. And so I think one of the things that stuck out to me is, hey, we're really, or I liked is that it was an opportunity for getting my feedback where I live. You know, currently there is no bus route up and down Mechanicsville. Like it sort of stops near Mosby and then into the county line. So I have to walk almost 35 minutes before I get to a bus stop. And so to see new opportunities and ways to get people connected, I think was pretty cool. And then, yes, we definitely enjoyed sharing the surveys with different folks at bus stops. And I think people were really engaged. I was really shocked that, you know, what we wanted to focus on is like, hey, there were so many opportunities for people to like engage on different routes, but what we focused on is asking people, okay, what routes you take now and what changes you want to see. And so we kind of help people hone in on it. The survey, I think, wasn't you could choose different routes to give feedback on. So it wasn't a survey that it was all encompassing. So if you wanted it to give feedback on the 1A, you could. If you wanted to give feedback on the Pulse, you could. If you wanted to give feedback on the 5, you could. So yeah, so those are my thoughts. Do you have that information pulled up?
So unfortunately, I can't find the total number that reviewed the draft plan, but we did for the origin and destination survey, did get just under 4,000 responses.
Great.
To help with that existing conditions. And that was asking people where they transfer from, how many transfers, because of course now we don't have that information as easily accessible where we don't charge for fares. We can't necessarily see it without just asking. So that was a great resource to us. And then we also did a lot of demographic information and breakdown so that we can really stand strong with knowing that GRTC is making an impact to minority and low-income individuals who are the majority of our riders as they continue to live and breathe and need access in Richmond, Virginia. So,
Great.
Yeah, and Faith, if I can say just one quick thing here. I know we continue to ask for transit service and all that, and I think you raise a great point. talking earlier when you said, people should make their voices heard. I think one of the areas that I would like to, we would like to encourage people to speak on is within the counties where they continue to develop communities that are not transit accessible. Sometimes it's difficult. You ask for transit service, but we come into the area. I mean, I can provide service, but I'm going to drop somebody off in their grass, and they have to dash across about 6 lanes just to get from one side onto onto the other side. And we just want to encourage people to contribute in their various jurisdictions just to make sure that they can make their voices heard when it comes to providing transit supportive infrastructure, because that gives us it puts us in a better place to provide the service that these places need.
Yeah. Well, this has absolutely been incredible. I really appreciate you all presenting that presentation. I know this will be shared and used over the next few years, because this is the plan, overall plan that GRTC is going to use, or guide, right? And we do realize that this is just a guide. It's a workable guide. It can move, but thank you so much again for coming and giving us that information.
All right, great. Thank you for having us. And also for to all the participants, thanks for being a part of this. And we are always here, if there's anything that we can help with, answer your questions, whatever, you can always reach out to Henry, and he will let us know.
All right, and Henry's gonna most likely put his information in the chat. Henry is GRTC's communications manager. And so what I wanted to do right now is tell you our next event. So we're wrapping up Mobility University. Mobility University is our 5-week training course where we teach bus riders on how to self-advocate, how to advocate for more expansions, more infrastructure in the region. We teach folks on how to write a public comment, give a public comment. We also show folks how to build a campaign and what to do. So if you, someone mentioned, what about zero fare? What's the plan? And so what we do is we teach folks key steps on how they can advocate to keep zero fare going and rally their community around an issue. And so we are commencing our graduation of that class, that fall class, on next Wednesday, October 2nd. It's going to take place at the Virginia Conservation Network from 5:30 to 7. We'll start off with a reception, and we'd love to have you participate. Our guest speaker, the commencement speaker, is Joe Dillard, GRTC's Director of Government Affairs. And so we're so excited to celebrate these students, but also invite GRTC to facilitate that conversation. So a link is in the most likely in the chat. We'd love to have you. All right, and so last but not least, ride the bus. You support transit by using transit. And so right now, our region is getting a larger part of income from the state of Virginia because of our ridership. We want to keep it that way, but also if you are in a zone where there's microtransit, it's important that you use it. Share with other folks. It's important that the numbers go up, because where the numbers are, the demand will be, and more funding will go to that. So ride the bus. And then also save on gas, reduce carbon emissions, and reduce the stress, okay? And then also help the environment. Stephanie mentioned option number 2, adopt a stop. Our region has over 1,600 bus stops. And a huge barrier right now to progression in installing shelters, in installing benches, and more bus stops is trash and the look of a stop. It's important that any place that has frequency of people, there's going to be trash, right? And so Unfortunately, right now, there's a limited budget right now under GRTC to keep certain stops clean. So we've implemented Adopt a Stop. So please reach out to Stephanie. If you are a individual, if you are a civic association, if you have a youth group, we want to connect you with the bus stop that you can beautify. And you get a cool logo attached to it. Now, also share your story. You heard from two gentlemen today about their transit experiences. These transit experiences we share directly to GRTC, but we also want to hear more impact stories involving microtransit. So if you've used microtransit and it's benefit you, please call 804-286-0007. We love to hear from you. And then last but not least, donate. If you find this information or this event valuable, we need your help to support you, to support this work. Your donation enables us to educate for frequent and far-reaching public transportation. It allows us to go to bus stops. It allows us to collect more comments. It allows us to advocate for zero fare. So consider becoming a monthly donor. All right, and so with that, I say until next time, thank you so much again for joining us for RVA Rapid Transit Talk. If you have not joined our newsletter, you need to do so. I think we'll put a link of our newsletter in the chat. This will allow you to be up to date on all the events. We'll also keep you posted on events that GRTC has, but also upcoming webinars, upcoming events involving transportation. So without further ado, we'll see you next time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.